The Russian military arrives in Venezuela as they warn the U.S. Everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. Yes, they've been telling the U.S. that going to war in Venezuela would not be a good idea, and they could get directly involved here, along with China and a little bit of Iran, although they're mainly supplying other weapons, as well as the Russians and the Chinese. So here we go. We'll get into it like we always do. Well, now it appears the shoe is on the other foot, as Russia is directly supplying Venezuela with offensive and defensive weapons, just as NATO and the U.S. have been directly supplying Ukraine in their proxy war against Russia. Venezuelan President Maduro has asked Russia, China, and Iran for urgent military support, according to the Washington Post. The request for China includes missiles, radar overhauls, and aircraft repairs. Caracas has also sought aid from China and Iran, asking for drones, detection systems, and GPS jammers to bolster defenses. So what's happened? Well, earlier this week, Russian President Putin signed a strategic cooperation agreement with Venezuela covering defense, political, and economic sectors. Afterward, Russian military cargo planes began arriving. Analysts said the aircraft may have delivered as much as 34 tons of material, including portable air defense systems and air-to-air missiles. According to the reports, the IL-76 transport plane departed the Moscow area on the 24th of October and landed in Venezuela on the 26th of October after stops in Armenia, Algeria, Morocco, Senegal, and Mauritania. The aircraft reportedly remained in Caracas for about 45 hours before departing for Cuba. Gee, what countries have we been talking about a lot recently, guys? These are the same countries that Dmitry Duduman talked about during his American church tours of the 80s. And the vision that God gave Dmitry, if you remember, he saw Cuba, Nicaragua, Mexico, and two other Latin South American countries you couldn't remember that would participate in a war against America. It appears that those two countries are going to be Venezuela and possibly Colombia, because they were also talking about Colombia this past week, if you remember. So in regard to what Russia said today, in regards to Venezuela and the request for aid, the statement goes, the Russian government appeared to send a warning to the Trump administration over its pressure campaign against Venezuela, saying Moscow stands ready to respond appropriately to the requests of our partners in light of emerging threats. They went on to say, we support the leadership of Venezuela in defending its national sovereignty, taking into account the dynamics of the international and regional situation. That was press official Maria Zakharova, according to a social media publication from the Russian Foreign Ministry. The source I have here is the Latin Times. So now, given the U.S. military buildup off the coast of Venezuela, the probability that Russia transferred possible air defense equipment or worse, anti-ship weapons, is a significant development. Of course, many in the Trump administration think Russia's bluffing, as usual, and that they won't help Maduro directly in the war. Well, they must be forgetting about the massive arsenal of Russian weapons that we've been seeing on display over this past week, right? Week and a half, including that Chernobyl missile system that's nuclear powered that they were testing here last week. And then, of course, we have the Poseidon super torpedo that Russia tested the other day. We can go look at that real quick, if you like. There it is. Russia tests nuclear-capable Poseidon super torpedo, Putin says. That was just the other day, on October 29th. So yeah, everybody forgets about that, but the Trump administration thinks that they won't use them. And so the Trump administration is still moving forward and making plans for war in Venezuela. The Wall Street Journal detailed that the targets are considered nexus between the Nicolas Maduro regime and drug trafficking organizations. They include military ports and airports, as well as naval facilities and airstrips. The administration continues to use the drug war as their excuse, while anyone with more than 2 functioning brain cells knows that this isn't about drugs. When asked about Maduro's appeal to Russia, Trump told reporters, if Russia or anyone else wants to get involved in that mess, they'll regret it. We know what's happening in our hemisphere. This statement was interpreted by analysts as a warning shot, suggesting Washington will not tolerate a Russian military footprint in the Americas, a region long considered under the Monroe Doctrine sphere of U.S. influence. And I just ordered Defense News here for that information. So we have all kinds of rumors of war flying around today. As I'm typing this, it appears Venezuela is having massive GPS interference that just lit up northern Venezuela and Trinidad like a Christmas tree, and nobody's saying why. This started out of nowhere. Planes, boats, and anyone trying to navigate with a phone, well, good luck. Last but not least, it appears that the DoD has sent the long-range Tomahawks to Ukraine, with the final decision to use them left up to Trump. That is all the more reason for Russia to strike the USA directly, as the USA is definitely planning on striking them if they use these Tomahawks. Remember, the Tomahawks are all American, being fired by Americans, using American satellites and GPS to guide them to their targets in Russia. If that's not getting directly involved, I don't know what is, guys. So I'll keep my eyes on all this as usual, but I believe we're seeing that Dumitru Duduman prophecy about America / Mystery Babylon coming to pass. So in case you're not familiar with the prophecy, I put the short version, a little over 10 minutes long, in this video link here. It takes you to YouTube. And then here's a link to his book on Amazon that contain these prophecies as well as his life story, which is very interesting. This man went through the fires indeed. Yes, he did. And so now, as far as the fires for us here at home, our housing situation, we are still up against it. But I want to thank everybody very much to those who've already supported us. But we're still about 744 short. So we've got till tomorrow to make this happen. But today I have an inner peace after a rough night last night. So thank you very much for all the prayers, most of all, including those for my grandson Christian and his grandmother Retha. In case you don't know, my grandson Christian lost his dad, my son-in-law, Monday evening. So if you'd like to help us stay in our home and keep the lights on, that link is right here. $1,650 of it is for the rent and rent alone. And then, which we may be able to finagle that by robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak, by not paying other bills because of what we've raised so far. But then the rest of it would be for utilities and if there's any left over for a little food. So that's what it's for, guys. It's all for needs, not for anything else, but just basic housing and power needs. And so that will be it for now. And just as a disclosure, I have to say that the link to the book is part of my Amazon affiliate link. So I will receive a small commission if you purchase the book, but it does not affect the price. It helps me pay for items here at home. I get little small commission checks every once in a while that go to my Amazon account as a credit. And so I had $18 to buy some vitamin C and zinc last week. So blessings to you guys. Stay ready, prayed up and prepped up at all times. And that will probably be it for right now. A lot going on, guys. Wow. Nuclear torpedoes, Russia testing all kinds of things. And last but not least, the federal judge ordered the USDA to pay SNAP benefits during the shutdown. And it says more than 40 million Americans rely on the program to buy food each month. So now we'll see if Trump actually complies with these two federal judges who on October 31st, which is today, said the U.S. Department of Agriculture is legally required to use emergency funds to pay out food stamp benefits during the government shutdown. And so I'll let you read the rest on your own. I'll put that link up on the website at USDA at don'tspeaknews.com. Oh, my brain's scrambled, guys. It's been a lot going on, as you know, this past week here at the household, too. So I'll put all the links up, as always, including the ones if you'd like to help us. And then, of course, the website itself, don'tspeaknews.com. Well, there's over 3,000 stories now, I believe. I believe we just broke that number. I'll have to check again. On the website since 2019. That's when we started the website. Of course, the channel began in 2017, but so it took me a couple years to get a website, but I finally decided to do so because I saw the writing on the wall with YouTube and all the censorship. So I put a lot of stuff here that we can't place anywhere else. Stories like this, like this, like this, and so on. All that and much more here at don'tspeaknews.com. And if you'd like to contact me, just hit the subscribe button here. And there's a box there for you to type in your email. And there's a box at the bottom of every article too, if you want to stay up to date and get notified every time I put up a new post. And then channel support's right here. But of course, we've got the fundraiser going, so I'll just leave that link up instead. But you can always support us through this link right here. All of the other links to do that are underneath this tab. And then Rumble, BitChute, and Telegram, all the places to find us are right here. You just click that. And here are all the links, including the YouTube one. And that, guys, will be it for now. God bless you all. Take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.